now the decision of Alphonso Davies looks clear. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today guys, many things to mention. The market is entering into its final 2 weeks. Many things to say, from Erling Haaland and the close, Alejandro Garnacho, Joao Felix, Alphonso Davies, but also Ansu Fati, Nkunku. Let's jump into it together. And so guys, many movements on the market, as I mentioned to you. Let me start with a player who's always been mentioned several times, and is Alphonso Davies, the Bayern left back. This week, Bayern hope to complete the final details and then extend his contract, complete the contract negotiations. There are just few details left to complete the agreement after the important steps made by Bayern last week, around Thursday, Friday, when the agent of the player was in Munich to discuss some final points. A very positive meeting. Bayern improved their proposal to Alphonso Davies after some tense moment. Remember, we had several reports of Bayern going to extend that contract before Christmas, then before the end of the year 2024. That was not the case because Alphonso Davies' agent wanted to take some time also to hear from other clubs in the recent weeks. Since the 1st of January, he was allowed to do that also officially, and so now the decision of Alphonso Davies looks clear. Continue at Bayern, still not signed, but for sure Bayern have made very good progress on this one, very good contacts in the recent days, and so some final details to sort, and then Alphonso Davies prepared to sign a new deal at Bayern. Despite many reports on done deal with Real Madrid have been there, Real Madrid have been interested, but remember what I always told you in Real Madrid: top target, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then in the list also Alphonso Davies. They made contact, they spoke several times, so Alphonso Davies has been in the list of Real Madrid for a long time for sure. I'm not here saying that it was not the case, but the top target for Real Madrid is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Even if it's not going to be possible now, and that's completely unlikely, the idea is for the summer. But for Alphonso Davies, now Bayern really confident to complete everything and to make it official as soon as possible. I also wanted to move to the Premier League, guys, because there are some things to clarify. The first one is on the news of last week about Erling Haaland and his new 9.5 years contract at Manchester City, 2034, a massive contract for Erling Haaland, a massive salary, well deserved, because he's doing fantastic in Premier League since day one, after what he did at Molde, Salzburg, Borussia Dortmund, so well deserved absolutely for Erling Haaland. But at the same time, an important contract for Manchester City, a strong message from Manchester City in this difficult moment on the pitch, even if in the last few weeks it looks different already for Man City compared to November, December, complicated months for Manchester City. But now, on Erling Haaland contract, there is one point. Many people keep telling me, Fabrizio, you reported about a release clause, other reports are saying that there is no release clause. My information, guys, is that there is a release clause from 2029. It's not an easy release clause, it's not a release clause to leave the club, so obviously when you put a release clause that could be a possibility, but it's a very high number, so it's not a normal number, a number that allows clubs to trigger that release clause in an easy way. So from my information, there is a release clause, that's the case, but it's from 2029, so not this year, not next year, not the following one, so imagine about this release clause. I'm not here saying that this release clause, again, is for Erling Haaland to plan his future away from Manchester City, but still a release clause into the contract. So it's something that we have to mention from 2029. But obviously the mission of this contract extension is completely different. Otherwise, you are not signing, a new contract for 9.5 years. So the mission is very clear, and this is for Haaland and Man City to continue together for a very long time. Then, guys, I wanted to mention something also on another player, Alejandro Garnacho, a big topic of this January transfer window because he's a dream target for Napoli. We always say that how appreciated he is by Napoli, especially by the manager Antonio Conte. Not the only option, because Napoli started trying for Zegrova from Lille. The player was very keen on the move, but Lille said no. The president of Lille is really strong in negotiations, and so despite Zegrova being really attracted by Napoli, in this case was Lille to say no. In the case of Garnacho, the situation is different because Napoli have been pushing a lot on player side. So Napoli made contact, Napoli have been pushing on the financial point of view, but also on the technical point of view, the project they have, the top coach they have, Antonio Conte. You know my personal opinion, guys, if you're following me. For me, Antonio Conte is one of the best managers in the world for what he does on the pitch, and he's showing that once again at Napoli, but also for the pool of Antonio Conte when he speaks to the players. So it's absolutely a fantastic coach, and so the way he's using to tell the players about Napoli project is absolutely a factor in many cases. So Antonio Conte has been pushing for Garnacho, but Manchester United are asking for a very big money. So when you see reports of 40-45 million euros, Man United are absolutely not accepting that kind of fee for Alejandro Garnacho. So it has to be a very big proposal in order to make it happen for Garnacho. So there is Napoli interest, but financially is not easy at all. And then there is Chelsea, because Chelsea, from what I'm hearing, already since the end of December, started making inquiries for wingers. After what happened with Mykhailo Mudryk, they started making inquiries. In these inquiries, there is Jamie Bino-Gittens. We mentioned that also in yesterday's video and 2 weeks ago about Bino-Gittens. Chelsea and Liverpool, two clubs inquiring, but it's very difficult for the January transfer window because Borussia Dortmund want to continue with him. And then Chelsea also made an inquiry at the end of December and in the recent days again for Alejandro Garnacho. Chelsea want to be informed on the situation, and Alejandro Garnacho is a player who remains on Chelsea list. Again, not the only one, because Chelsea are exploring several options, but Alejandro Garnacho is one of the players they have absolutely under consideration. They see the talent, they see the potential, and from what they feel, there is a possibility for Manchester United to open doors for Alejandro Garnacho exit in the January transfer window, also for financial fair play. Again, has to be a big proposal, but Chelsea have a feeling that this could be a possibility. My information is that Chelsea, at the beginning of the transfer window, end of December, wanted to consider a potential swap deal with Manchester United. Then nothing evolved. You remember similar case in the summer transfer window. Chelsea and Man United were speaking also about Ben Chilwell, but then Man United decided against a swap deal, and the Jadon Sancho deal was completed without any player involved. Now, I'm not aware of anything imminent in terms of swap deals, but Chelsea idea at the beginning of the window was to try to discuss a swap with Manchester United. Now, let's see what happens, but again, on Garnacho, let's see, with Chelsea there, Napoli with Antonio Conte also pushing, but again, it's very expensive, so we will be following the situation of Garnacho. On Chelsea, we have to keep close eye to several situations. One is Christopher Nkunku, but we know that for Nkunku, Chelsea asked 70 million euros, same transfer fee as Kvaratskhelia, and so it's not easy for Bayern to proceed without a swap deal. The swap deal that Chelsea wanted to do was with Matistel, obviously with the valuation of the players to be discussed, but Chelsea wanted Matistel to be included in the deal, but Matistel, as of today, is still insisting to continue at Bayern. In case he changes his mind, he remains an option, absolutely, for Chelsea. Christopher Nkunku remains on Bayern list, but at the moment, too expensive. And then, let's see what happens with Joao Felix, because also for Joao Felix, some clubs are starting to call from several countries. So, at the moment, I don't want to come here and mention 5, 6, 7 clubs for Joao Felix, because that's not the case, but really many clubs are reaching out to understand what happens with Joao Felix. Can we make a bid? What sort of formula? What's the player position? Why he's not playing constantly? So many clubs are reaching out to understand the situation of Joao Felix. Now, let's see what happens. At the moment, it's not guaranteed that Joao Felix leaves Chelsea. It's not easy, for sure. But there is some movement in terms of calls to the agent of Joao Felix, Jorge Mendes, to be informed on the situation. So we will be following also that one. And we will be following also the case of Ansu Fati, because same agent as Joao Felix, so is Jorge Mendes. Ansu Fati, on one side, there is Barcelona. The player has been not called up for recent games, so Barcelona are open to letting Ansu Fati leave immediately. And remember that Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund, these two clubs, are pushing to have Marcus Rashford. On the other side, Ansu Fati still has this big desire to succeed at Barcelona. So at the moment, Ansu Fati is still not convinced to say, okay, I'm leaving. But it's 2 weeks to go. Any day can change anything, so we will follow the situation, because obviously Ansu Fati wants to stay at Barcelona, but he wants to play football. He's not being included in the squad for a long time, so now Ansu and Hansi Flick will have to decide what's next. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories, starting from Erling Haaland, Alejandro Garnacho, Joao Felix, Alphonso Davies, Ansu Fati, Christian Nkunku. Wait for your opinion, guys, here in comments. Like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.